Lovely, thank you for joining. Let's ease out the neck. So hands around the neck, and let's take gentle neck rolls. So you can support the neck with the hands and give a little massage along the way. Make sure your jaw's nice and soft. And then let's take those circles in the other direction. Start to connect with the breath. So a nice deep breath in through the nose. And see if you can pause for a moment before you exhale. And as we've said in some of the other sessions, see if you can start to make that exhalation a little bit longer than the inhalation. Great. Onto the shoulders. Let's see if we can use the spine almost like we're flossing. Let's take the shoulders all the way forwards. Protraction. And then retract all the way back. So instead of the floss moving, we're moving forwards and backwards, ahead and behind the floss, rinsing out the spine. Anyone who's doing the cobra lifts yesterday might feel your triceps a little bit here today. And then up and down, so as if the shoulder blades are sliding up and down a wall behind, lifting the shoulders up to the ears and then fingers down to the floor, lengthen the neck. Couple more times, lifting, squeeze, feel even the ribs lifting up, everything lifting up, and then shoulders back and down at the top of the head to the ceiling, stretch right through to the fingertips. Last time, nice deep breath in, and then breathe out. Shrug out the shoulders with nice soft knees. And let's hula hoop at this. Getting them ready. They're going to need it. Let's take a nice, slow, controlled movement. Just feeling your way around the hips. Let's go for maybe 2 circles in each direction. But if you're going a little bit faster than me, you may make it to 3. It's a nice, easy stretch to the back of the legs, no overdoing it. Chances are it's the first hamstring stretch you've had of the day, but do get that extension in the front of the hip as well. And when you're ready, let's take it in the other direction. Squeezing the glutes, try to avoid any excessive back bending. You want to lean back enough, just engage those core muscles. And then let's ease out. Just kick your bottom a couple of times, having stretched out the hamstrings. Let's take the legs in a wide position, and we're bending one knee at a time. And I want you to actually run your hands down the fronts of the legs, squeezing the belly of the muscle of the quads, nourish the knees, all the way down, tops of the feet and up. A couple of times. The bend in each leg. Slowly, in case you lose your balance, down the backs of the legs as well. Just getting the brain thinking, connecting with all the muscles of the legs ready. And then let's have a review of a few chair positions, everyone's least favorite. Let's have the feet hip distance apart, toes pointing forwards, slight tuck in the tailbone, roll the shoulders back and down. We're going to start with the hands in prayer. Now lift these prayer hands up overhead and stop when your shoulders need to lift. So keeping a position so it's probably just ahead of the body. I think for flamenco I can lift my arms a little bit higher. I want your shoulders to stay down. So toes pointing forward, squeeze the glutes, look up at the fingers, and as you breathe out, bend the knees, but think about weight into the heels. So it's an upright lengthening of the spine. So while reaching into the fingertips, trying to keep the fingers close to the ceiling, but then sinking down. So it's a fairly upright chair initially. Breathe in deeply here. See if you can lift the toes and spread the toes. Feel the ball of the foot spreading and pressing into the floor, but much of the weight taken into the heels. Stand tall and release the arms. We're going to the next one. Hands into prayer, reach up. Now separate the arms, palms facing, so everything's kind of hip distance or shoulder distance apart. We're coming into more of a 45-degree angle. Still weight into the heels. Long spine, long neck, knees forwards. Check you can see your toes. You can briefly take the weight forwards just so you can see that strains the knees. Get the weight back. We've got these big, powerful muscles, these glutes here. Leaning back, And find that lengthening in the spine, slight tuck in the tailbone, arms just ahead of the body so it can keep the shoulders down. Again, spread the toes, grip the floor, but keep the weight back. Keep checking your knees are over the toes, tracking over the toes, but you can still see your toes. One more breath here. Stand up to release the arms down, shake out. Power squat. So again, weights all the way back. Let's toe the bottom. Lift the arms. Squeeze the glutes now as you bend. So you're sitting in a low chair. Let's flex the wrists. So you're pressing the wall in front of you and we'll come as deeply as you can. So all the weights into the heels. We're working towards the thighs being parallel to the floor. Flexing, so we're strengthening the wrists. Feet are still hip distance apart, knees hip distance apart, weight into the glutes. Press. One more breath here. I know it's one of those postures where you can start to almost feel desperate, but we're all in it together. Keep with it. Now, lift the toes, spread the toes, and press into the heels to come up to standing. Shrug out the shoulders. Now, it's all a bit arm focused today. Let's take the legs out wide. Hands on the belly. Let's do this in stages. Like a breath of fire. I want you to try it and do 5 forced out breaths and then a long inhalation. So let's just try that. Breathe in to prepare and then breathe out. Let's try once more. Breathe in, lengthen the spine, and then breathe out. We're going to combine that with something else. So let's take the arms out wide and pat the hands down, palms facing down, down, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then lift the arms. Palms come together and palms down. And breathe in a length, breathe out, pat. Now we can add on a bend in the knees. Now what I'm doing here is working towards a standing 100. This pulsing, strengthening the back, using the power of the core, but we're going to add on the legs. Take them out at any point if you wish. So let's breathe in, reaching up to the ceiling. Now soften the knees, bending them out wide. So inner thighs stretch. Make sure you're not overturning out the feet. And we'll be patting down, breath of fire, long spine, long neck. Let's go. Breathe out. Okay, so let's put all that together. Hundreds, so it'll be 10 rounds. So we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breath of fire out. Second round. Third round. Fourth round. Fifth round. Sixth round. And seventh round. Stop if you get dizzy. You can just stay in your victory squat. 8th round, shoulders back and down, strong core. Let's go, shoulders back and down, knees wide. Last one. Now, really strong contraction in the core, go. And stand up. Well done. Toe and heel the feet in. Let's shake out the legs. Brilliant. We're coming down to all fours. Still working with the hips, legs, a little bit of a twist. Let's take one roll down to the mat and meet in on all fours. Chin to chest, nice, soft, heavy ragdoll arms, head, rounding down through the spine. Lovely stretch to the back of the body. Pause to enjoy that forward fold. And then let the hands find the floor and let's set up. Tabletop, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Let's have one round of cat-cow just to get the spine warmed up again. Breathe in, claw the heels of the hands towards the knees to help your arch stretch the front of the body. Stick the bottom out. Push the floor away, chin to chest, round the back, tummy bottom back to the spine, drop the head, chin to chest. Last time, breathing in, crawling into the fingers, chest forwards. And last time, arching cat, round the back, tilt the pelvis, lift the navel. We're extending the right leg out behind you, then tilt the pelvis, bottom tucking under, long spine, long neck, and lift the leg. Now let's take the leg across the body until you feel the inner thighs squeeze, and let's pulse 2, 3, 4, 5, and extend the leg behind you. Find that retucking tummy bottom back to the spine, lower core engaged, and again flex and across the body, inner thigh. Pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. Re-extend, flat back, and flex. Pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. And last time, flex across the body, shoulders back and down. Pull in the core, pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. Lower the knee, other side, left leg extends, I'm mirroring you, tilt the pelvis, long spine, so try not to collapse in the head. Nice long line at the back of the neck, lift and point, level out the hips, tilt the pelvis, pubic bone curling up to the ribs, close those front ribs, back to the back body. Flex across the body, use your inner thigh muscles, pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. And reset, nice deep breath in, the out breath, pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. And deep breath in to prepare. Every time resetting, pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend, let's have one more set. Lift the navel and pulse 2, 3, 4, 5. Brilliant. Lower the knee, we're taking a down dog with a twist. So let's have a gap between the feet, tuck the toes, come by a lazy dog, and then extend and start to pedal through. While you're warming up the backs of the legs, let me explain. The twist, I want us to look for a stretch in the outer hip. So with a long spine, a stretch of the backs of the legs, if you lift the heels up high and drop the heels to the right, I've got my bum in your face. Dropping the heels to the right, soften the knees, and then stretch, find a stretch. You bend the knees as much as you need to, particularly in the lower knee, and look for a stretch in the outer hip. Breathe deeply. So any runners, keen walkers here, really good to get this stretch in the outer hip. Other side. Hips come square to the floor, lift the hips high, the heels high, flatten the back, and then drop the heels the other way. Heels over to the left, soften the knees, and we're looking for an outer thigh stretch. So by bending and pushing the hips back, looking for an outer hip stretch. You're nearly there. Okay, square up the hips. We're coming to a forward fold and standing. So roll up through the spine, but circle out the wrists along the way. Rebuild one vertebra at a time. So still thinking about people are keen on walking, running. Let's just take a moment to work those stabilizing muscles that will help prevent injury. Let's do it in stages. Toes pointing forward, squeeze the glutes, roll the shoulders back and down. Establish that nice plumb line. Now soften the knees, and we're lifting your left knee up towards the chest. Stand tall. Bend and tap. We're tapping behind. So let's try that once more. Tap and lift. Long spine, long neck. Tap and behind. So any wobbling here is fine. My brain has to calibrate and switch on those stabilizing muscles of the core. If you're not wobbling, let's make this a gliding, continuous movement, taking out that mid-tap. So we're lifting, softening, stepping back. So it's as though we're taking a portion of walking, isolating this one movement, and we're giving all the stabilizing muscles of the body time to switch on. So that then if we're walking at speed, on uneven floor, we've got a better chance of not injuring ourselves. So going at a level there, you're challenging your balance. If this is completely smooth, without challenge, I would invite you to take more of a warrior 3 position. Bend and lift. So working so many things that will support us when we're walking, running. We're strengthening the ankle of the standing leg. Do scale it back to tapping down on the floor if that's where you're at. You know, wherever it's just a journey along the way, we can keep strengthening, keep increasing that stability throughout the body. So if you want to start to work towards the warrior 3, a prayer position with the thumbs pressed into the sternum is quite a nice way of working towards this. There's something about pressing the hands together and the thumb into the sternum that can give you a little bit more stability. So that's one to work with. Whichever level you're doing, let's have one more round. So maybe we're just working on that lift in the knee and a tap back and a lift, and then we'll take it to the other side. Shake out the hips. All right, so we set up. So if we're running, we want to have this nice cross-body movement, but with nice straight legs working in that sagittal plane. So weight into the other leg, stand tall, feel your core slightly engaged, and let's take a balancing stick. The other knee lifts this time, soften the knee, maybe tap part way just to feel your way into kind of a modified high lunge, and return and lift. So if you start to transition to the warrior 3 for more of a challenge, make sure you find something to look at that's not moving. So find a spot on the floor before you go to that stage. So adding in the tap at the midway point if you need to. This starts to become quite you start to feel the fatigue in the standing ankle. So be prepared. And as long as it's not pain, it's the right kind of muscle use, sensations, it's all fine. So keep going, find your level. Remember, if you want to take the warrior 3, have a go at prayer hands. Find something on the floor that's not moving. And then we can adjust. Let's not go into too much detail. We're too prescriptive about this added level. You know, ideally the toes are pointing down towards the floor. So we square up the hips. We're just concerned with feeling, you know, even if you prod your core, your middle, you'll feel everything stabilizing. So those muscles switching on so that we start to reduce that wavering side to side. Make the next your last one. And let's shake out. You deserve to come down to the mat. Your hard standing work is done. So find your way to the mat. Let's lie on the back and hug the knees into the chest. Have a little rock on the spine. Okay, we're going to set up for cycling. And again, as usual, we've got different layers of intensity we can go for. We can make this a nice gentle half Apanasana, draw one knee and extend the other. Breathe out, tummy bottom back to the spine. Breathe in, knees cross over. Breathe out, other knee into the chest. Really feel the knees stretching wide apart. More intensity, you slow down and the thighs stay, the knees stay over the hips. We can curl the head, neck and shoulders up and slow the breath down. Please leave your head on the floor if there's any strain, if you feel you're clenching your teeth. So you'll notice for higher intensity, rather than drawing the knee all the way in, where we're taking the work into the arms, we can keep it in the core and halting when we're hip distance apart. And the emphasis is on lifting up towards the knee. So finding your level, let's go for 3 sets left and right. You can hold the head in the hands if that's more supportive. So we're finding out pretty much a neutral spine throughout. Key to use the upper abdominals. So keep, rather than letting the ribs flare apart, see if you can knit them really close together. It's those lower 2 floating ribs that aren't attached to the sternum where we can end up flaring a little bit. Using the abdominals to draw the front ribs together, tummy bottom back to the spine. Slowing the movement down. In this position, we can check the ankles, knees, and hip distance apart. So that we're combining our Pilates and yoga principles into one. That's got to be 3 by now. Have a little rock on the spine. Great. We're going to take single leg stretch. Legs up to the ceiling. Hold the back of one of the legs and lower the other. We take a light pulse, pulse. Breathe into switch and pulse, pulse, switch. So again, with the neck, any niggles in the neck, leave your head on the floor. We can work strengthen the legs, the core, perfectly well with the head resting down, not worth straining the neck. As with the standing hundreds we took, we can take a little bit of a contraction in the core with that pulse, pulse, switch. So we're starting to get a little bit more flexibility into length into the hamstrings, whilst toning the core muscles. A little bit of work for the arms, helping to guide the leg in. Do one more set, or even yourself out left and right. Take a recovery breath with the knees into the chest, a little rock on the spine, and let's switch to the open V. Knees over the hips. And as we breathe in, the knees and ankles open wide. As we breathe out, the knees, ankles come back together. Arms can be soft by the body. Breathing in to open and breathing out to return. Go right to the end of that in-breath, still working with the core. So let's keep the chin tucked in towards the neck, nice long back of the neck. And let's initiate that closing of the knees by pressing tummy bottom into the spine, but keeping the shoulders from rounding, and then joining the knees. Breathe in, opening. Tummy bottom back to the spine, flattening the lower back till it's in that neutral, nice, gentle curve. And for the last couple of rounds, let's soften the eyes gently closing, going inside the body. A little bit of shaking is fine. And for the last 2, let's see if you can maintain that smoother curve in the spine, rather than letting it all collapse as the knees open. For the last couple, let's see if we can maintain the same distance. Imagine where the tummy bottom is from the mat in that neutral spine position, and see if you can maintain it as the knees open and close. And for the last one, same. Tummy bottom is close to the mat, but with the shoulders relaxed. You're nearly there. Wonderful. We're rolling onto the tummies. Good. We're going to take a lift in the legs. So you can stack the forearms, rest the head down, squeeze the legs together, glutes on strong. Take a breath in to prepare, and as you breathe out, press the pelvis into the mat and float the legs, lengthening. Think about length rather than height. Squeeze, 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 and then lower down. Breath in, breathe out. Tilt the pelvis, pubic bone pressed into the floor, float the legs up. We warmed up the inner thigh muscles. Press the big toes together, the heels together, knees together, squeeze, and lower. Last two. Deep breath in, breathe out, squeeze, zip the legs together, and float up, squeeze, 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 lift. Go right to the end of the exhalation. Last time, deep breath in, and tilt the pelvis, rise up, squeeze, lengthen. Great. Hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, and from all fours, we're taking a pigeon. Let's glide the leg forwards, help the ankle come forwards, and knee and toe your back leg away. We'll take a gentle rock side to side and spin round. Now, for anyone whose hips aren't happy with a pigeon, let's bend this back knee and take more of a mermaid position. So you choose, and we're coming into a reclining, a folding, restorative forward fold over the leg, whether you're in pigeon or in mermaid. Gently rocking side to side, and when you find an area, a little bit of tightness, you pause there, and just working with the out breath, softening down. Give me one more and really deep breath in and out of the nose on this side, and then head last to come up. Slowly wriggle the spine up to sitting. Everyone come to a mermaid position, so the back leg comes forwards, and start to place your hands behind you into a twist. Breathing deeply, the front arm, reach across the body to deepen that twist through the body. Reach into the fingertips, squeeze the glutes, and twist through the body. Breathing and lengthening, no forcing. Well done. Come center, the other side. So we come back onto all fours. Your other leg comes forwards, glide toe and heel, your back leg away. Toe pointing directly backwards, and gently rock side to side. Same thing on this side. If you're more comfortable with a bend in the back knee before you come into a fold, that's all good. Gently rock. Enjoy the stretch in the hips. And then take a fold, and working into where your sweet spot is. Breathe into it. Melting. So just for these two breaths, close the eyes and feel the whole body becoming heavy, melting down. Try to release anywhere that you're actually clenching. Less and less effort, more and more softening down. Head last to come up, pace the hands back, slowly lift the head. We take a twist, soften the back knee, and start to swivel around. Looking over your shoulder, deeper twist by sweeping your arm across. So you're following that curve all the way around. Try to keep the shoulders down though. Breathe deeply, feeling that twist along the central axis. Looking over your shoulder. And release, brilliant. Legs out in front. Take the windscreen wipers, little sway, just to get that movement back, easy movement in the hips. And we'll take a gentle forward fold. Legs out in front of you. Shoulders back and down, arms parallel to the floor, curl the toes up to the face. Breath in as you breathe out. Into a spine stretch, forward fold, hold wherever the hands fall, and just pause for a moment. Just where we've been stretching out the hamstrings in the single leg stretch. Just finding a little bit of softening now, so we're not forcing flexibility here. And then rolling up through the spine, bend the knees. And give the backs of the legs a little squeeze. We're coming just to stretch out the arms, roll the shoulders back and down, hold the arm from underneath and gently pull the arm out of the socket. Palm forwards into a stretch for the wrists and the other way. And then the other arm, support from underneath, gently pull, stretch into the fingers and gently pull back away to stretch the deltoids. Palm forwards, shoulders down. And the other way. Let's round off with a nice deep breath in, reaching overhead. Climb and stretch. Right hand to the floor, left arm up and over, stretching the side of the body. Back to the center. Deep breath in to reach and stretch. Left hand to the floor, melt to the side. Think length up and over. Last twist. Breathe in to stretch. Opposite hand to knee, swim around, look over the shoulder, wide across the collarbone, knees down, soft jaw. And last of all, over to the left, reach up, deep breath in, and then into the twist, swivel, empty the lungs, keep a long spine, and a soft jaw. And that's 30 minutes. Well done.